What's up, fight fans? Thank you once again for coming through, much appreciated. Remember, hit that subscribe button. Again, to all the people that have subscribed to get me over 1,000 subscribers. What the fuck? Thank you very, very much. Remember, guys, if you are watching another video as well, thanks for coming back to watch another video. All right, let's talk about this pay-per-view craze that's going on right now in boxing. I think is just fucking ridiculous. Apologies for those people that don't like my foul language, but that's how much it annoys me. I'm a huge boxing fan, and obviously right now I live in Nigeria, as many of you guys know, but I used to live in the UK and visit it frequently. I've got a flat in the UK still. Don't know why I mentioned that. Don't know why. Anyway, what I was going to say is, look, as a boxing fan in the UK, I had Box Nation, BT Sport is showing some stuff as well, and Sky Sports. Obviously, you know, I've kind of got at the time, I'm not quite sure how it works now with Big Box Nation and BT kind of hooking up, but at the time, I had to pay for my Sky subscription, which I don't know how much it is because it's just direct debit. Who knows nowadays? I don't know what it is. And Box Nation, right? And then obviously for the big fights, pay-per-view, which again pisses me off. But as a boxing fan, it was just a case of, okay, I've got to do it. People will say, okay, Ade, but you can stream. You know what it is about streaming? Unless you've got a really good stream. I'm a big boxing fan. I mean, big boxing fan. So for me, the idea of streaming and maybe the stream cutting out halfway, or it's skipping, or it being delayed somehow, and I'm on Twitter and people are telling me the result and say it going down, I just can't deal with all that shit. I'll be honest with you, I can't deal with it. And I think very rarely do you get a stream that is just perfect. Very rarely. So I think you've got to spend your money. You want to see a really good fight and it's on pay-per-view, the com that is pay-per-view, you've got to spend money, right? See, the thing with pay-per-view is, I'm going to say I kind of understand what the promoter's doing. I don't, but I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I understand what the promoter's doing. Some of the big fights where you've got to pay the fighters millions, and the TV revenue and advertising and all the ticket sales just isn't cutting it in order to really get a fantastic card and get two massive opponents against each other, you might have to pay-per-view it, right? So you might have to charge the odd fan a bit extra. What's it, $21.95? If you're in America, you could pay up to $100 fucking, which is just anyway. So there's an argument there, right? So for the big ones, there's an argument. You don't mind putting out an extra tenner, extra 20 quid and watching it. And you know what? You don't even moan about it. You get a few friends around, you get a few drinks in, get a couple of beers, whatever, and it's a good night. And I remember I've had numerous of those around my friend's Ryan house back in the UK. Numerous. You don't mind that. So GG Canelo, no one was even minding that, really. Mayweather McGregor, I mean, what, 4 or 5 million people streamed it, so I guess some people did mind it, but nonetheless, I would have paid for it. It was a spectacle, the whole event. Done. Kovalev Ward, if I was in America and I'm a boxing fan, would have paid for it. That's where we draw the line. There has been some bullshit. If you are a UK person, so if you live in the UK and you're a big boxing fan, and say you legitimately pay for your events, so you pay for all your pay-per-views, this year, this 12 months would have included the following: Vladimir Klitschko versus Joshua. Fair enough. You know what I mean? Big fight, Wembley, it's okay. Spence Brook. We're going to see Vladimir Klitschko, so we're going to see Joshua against Pulev, which would have been Joshua versus Klitschko. We're going to see Joshua versus Pulev. Hey Bellew. How the fuck is Hey Bellew pay-per-view? How is Hey, when you really think about it, how is Hey versus Tony Bellew pay-per-view? So this is a guy that hasn't done anything in 4 years against a guy that is pretty much just a fat heavyweight. How's the pay-per-view? Because they talk a lot? How's that pay-per-view? Anyway, pay-per-view. Hey Bellew 2 pay-per-view. Shaking my head about it. But it gets worse. Groves Cox. ITV box office. George Groves versus Jamie Cox is pay-per-view. Eubank Yildirim, pay-per-view. Eubank Abraham, pay-per-view. Fury Parker, pay-per-view. I mean, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Eddie Hearn done an interview recently and he mentioned that although on the outside it looks like boxing's good with numerous events, and boxing is a dying thing in the UK. The interview's on Boxing Scene, you guys can check it out. He kind of said that he thinks he's the only company that could be making money. That could be Sour Grapes. I think Frank Warren might be catching him up there in terms of making money, but almost what I'm to say is that it's a dying breed. You know, whereas in America, 80% of the fighters' revenue, or 80% of the promoters' revenue is from TV, 20% is from ticket sales. He said in the UK it's the opposite way around. 20% will be from TV, 80% from ticket sales. Hence why he has to continue to do pay-per-view events. Pay-per-view events that aren't really pay-per-view events, i.e. Hay versus Bellew, Kubrat Pulev versus Joshua, not pay-per-view events for me. But he's got to do them because the TV revenue just isn't that big. Which is why he almost struck jackpot in getting someone like Anthony Joshua who sells that many tickets, because the TV revenue isn't that big. Think about this as well, and this is why I feel like us boxing fans are getting conned and getting conned ridiculous. If you are a boxing fan, I mean, there's many people like myself that boxing almost follows another sport, right? So I'm a massive football and NBA fan, and I follow lots of sports. So boxing, not many people out there are just boxing and boxing only fans. But if you just are a boxing fan, why the fuck are you having to pay for what is considered a big event? I mean, I know for a fact if I'm a football fan, Liverpool Man United, I ain't paying extra for that. It's on Sky Sports. It's not box office. I mean, World Cup, not box office. Champions League final isn't box office. Imagine they start putting these on box office, people. NBA finals, not box office. NFL, not box office. World Championship Athletics, if you're a big athletics fan, not box office. Why are boxing events on box office? Why? I don't understand how that's happened, and how it's become the norm nowadays for these events to appear on box office, and for us to accept it. Huey Fury versus Joseph Parker was on box office, and it's okay. It's okay. George Groves versus Cox is on box office. Eubank Gilderton this weekend's on box office. It's just a joke, and I feel like we have to stop watching them. We just simply have to stop watching them, and they will eventually start to creep their way back onto national TV. They have to, because if not, boxing dies. If not, boxing dies, and there is no TV revenue. But right now, I think we're just being conned. I think there are very, very few fights that okay, let me be straight with you. In terms of this year, pay-per-view, fights that I would 100% pay my hard-earned cash for. I would have paid for Joshua Klitschko. I would have paid for Spence Brook. I would have paid for GGG Canelo. I would have paid for Kovalev Ward the rematch. And I will pay for, it's not on box office, but I would have paid for Rigondeaux Lomachenko. That's it. So that's 6. I think there's probably been about 15, but that's 6 that I would have paid for. You know what it is? Just because I think they're big fights. They're considered big fights, right? And the history of boxing says are big fights on pay-per-view or closed circuit television. They're big fights. And I'm willing to part of my cash for those. But for the other shit, Hay Bellew, I'm going to repeat it again, Eubank Gilderton, George Groves Cox, Joshua versus Pulev, these are just not pay-per-view events. Not pay-per-view events, but we've been conned into thinking they are by all the promoters and the matchmakers. It's a disgrace. And I think the quicker we boycott these stupid, ridiculous fucking events, or the more people that stream them, the more they realise they just can't put on crap like this and expect us to part with hard-earned cash that, nah, it's got to stop.